Hey everybody, it's me, Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, and I got with me Eric McCabe. Thanks so much for joining us for the third episode of Dynamic Discs TV. It's been an awesome ride so far, and we're glad you guys are able to enjoy it. For this episode, Eric, what rule are you going over?
We are going to go over Rule 804.06, the provisional rule.
Yep,
it's a very important one that actually probably comes up in about every tournament I play in.
Pretty much. And then we got Dixon Jowers to help us out. He's going to help us talk about what he does for his tournament preparation. So he gets pretty in depth. So that's really good information to follow. Mm-hmm. And then of course I interview Paige Pierce while we're out at the Piney Woods. And I'll just kind of warn you, we did it after the rounds were over, and we all know what the time changes. The sun goes down a lot earlier, so it was a little dark. And then as the interview progresses, you can see it get darker and darker. So, but it's still a good interview to talk to Paige Pierce about 2014 and then her plans for 2015.
Some great information in there.
Yeah, and then Eric, tell us about what disc we go in the Is This Disc Right For You?
Well, we decided to, it makes sense to do our newest disc, the Lucid Freedom from Dynamic Discs.
Yeah. So, and I'll tell you guys, it is a disc that's going in my bag. So, but watch the episode, find out more information. Thanks for tuning in.
.06 Provisional Throws. A provisional throw is extra throws thrown by a player that will not count at the end of his round. Let's take a look at a couple examples. All right, so we've thrown our shot here, and as a group, we can't determine if this is OB or not. So here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna call provisional to the group. That's very important. Make sure you say provisional out loud to the group. Then you're gonna play the shot both ways, as if this is inbounds and if it's out of bounds. So you're gonna take your shot from the lie, and you're also gonna take a meter from where it would be OB and play the shot out that way as well. You're gonna write down both scores at the end of the hole and then find out after the round if it's OB or not. Here's another example on when you may wanna use a provisional. Let's say you're throwing a hole and there's a lot of tall grass or there's OB, a chance to lose your disc. That's another time that you may wanna use a provisional off the tee. If you throw your shot and there's a chance you won't find that disc, or you think you missed a mando, but you're not sure, then you can call a provisional and then determine the lie as soon as you get up to the first two shots. This is Rule 804.06, Provisional Throws. Go to PDGA.com for this and more rules.
Don't forget that we have a podcast you guys can download called the Disc Golf Answerman, where you submit your questions and Eric McCabe and myself will answer them for you, all disc golf related questions. You can get it on iTunes or Stitcher or just about any podcast player that you have. Every now and then we like to feature a question from the Disc Golf Answerman here on Dynamic Disc TV. And this week we have a question from Gustavo Ocampo. Now, I hope I pronounced that right, Gustavo, but I've got your email address, and because we're using your question as a featured question, we're going to send you a $25 store credit for dynamicdisc.net. So let's get to his question. Basically, his question is, how do you get prepared for a tournament about a week away? Well, we grabbed Dixon Jowers out here at the shop, and we asked him to let us know how he prepares for a tournament.
All right, Gustavo, thank you for writing into the Disc Golf Answerman with your question about how do you prepare for a tournament. So, in my mind, when I'm getting ready for the tournament, there's three things that I want to make sure that I can check off the list so that I'm ready to go when the first tee happens. Number one, I want to make sure that my mind is ready. Number two, that my body's ready. And number three, that my bag is ready to go. So, we're going to start with the bag. I don't want to leave the car until I'm sure that I have everything that I'm going to need for the round. Because if I get to the first tee and I'm not ready for the round, that's just shot my mind. So part of getting my mind ready is being confident that I have all of the tools necessary and being comfortable with the surroundings. So let's take a look at the trunk. So the first thing I want to do with my bag is I want to make sure that all of the discs that I think I'm going to need for the round are in my bag. There's nothing worse than getting to the tee and realizing that you left your favorite putter in the car or on the practice basket or something like that. So I'm going to make sure I got my putters. Now I want to make sure that for this particular course that I'm playing that I have the right discs. For instance, I know that this round I'm about to play, there are a lot of hyzer shots and there's some water on the course. So I want to make sure that I have enough stable discs to make it through the round in case some things go wrong at the water hole. So I've already taken out my flippy driver because I know I'm not going to need it on this course. And I'm going to put in an extra enforcer so that I've got just that extra sense of confidence that I'm going to have enough stable discs to get through the round. Now, you don't like getting out into a tournament and not having your chair. Tournament rounds can be long, sometimes 3 or 4 hours, and just being able to sit down every now and again for 20 seconds, it can actually make a difference over the course of a long tournament. So now that my bag is ready, I've got my discs ready to go. I want to make sure that I've got water. If it's going to be some sort of inclement weather, I want to make sure that I've got extra towels. If it's going to be raining, I want to make sure I have my umbrella. So for right now, it's a big, bright, shiny day. So the only thing I want to make sure that I take is a hat so that I can shield my eyes during the course of the round. So now that my equipment is ready, I want to make sure that I have all the little extras. Right now, it's pretty warm because the sun's out, but I know here in 3 hours, the sun's going to be going down, the temperature's going to drop, and the wind's going to pick up. So I've got an extra beanie. I've got extra towels in case I need that for the round. Want to make sure that I've got my rule book. It's not worth getting into an argument with somebody about some sort of rules difference because that's going to get you off your game. You just pull out the rule book, you check them, and then you move on. And I want to make sure that I've got my special mini because I don't like playing around without it. And so if I get to that first time that I'm going to mark my shot and I don't have my mini, it's going to take me off my mental game. So I want to make sure that I have everything ready to go. Because I've got all this extra space in the Ranger bag, I know I can fit it. So my bag is ready. Now it's time to go move on and get my body and my mind ready to go play this tournament. All right, so I've made it away from my car and I'm confident that I've got all the tools ready for the round. So now I want to get my body ready. Back in my younger days, I used to just step out of the car and begin throwing full speed. And I noticed that I was getting sore after the round. I spoke to my brother who's a physical therapist and he said, well, you're getting old. You got to start stretching. And so he sent me some stretches and I've been doing those for 10 to 15 years now. So before the round, there's 3 primary stretches I want to do on my arms, shoulders, and upper body. The first one is I'm going to take my throwing arm and I want to reach back to around the middle of my back. I'm going to take my non-throwing hand, put it on top of my elbow, and I'm going to push back and down. And by doing this, what I'm doing is I'm stretching all of these side muscles through here and then the underside of my arm. I'm going to hold that for 10 to 15 seconds and then shake it out. The second stretch I want to do is if you have a pole or a tree or something like that, you can put your hand against it. You can also do it without if you just provide the right tension. And basically, I'm going to stick my chest out and I'm going to start stretching my arm back. What that's going to do is it's going to stretch all across the top of my pec here. If you have something to hold on to, you can stretch a little more, turning your hips away, and that's going to get a stretch through the front side of your shoulder, the top muscles of your arm, and across your pec. The third stretch I'm going to do, I need the help of my friendly towel here. I'm going to take the towel in my non-throwing hand. I'm going to stick it over my back and grab it with my throwing hand, and I'm going to pull up with my left hand, with my non-throwing arm, and I'm going to squeeze hard with both hands. So what this is doing, not only is it stretching out the muscles in my forearm from grabbing the towel and pulling it down, by also pulling up on that arm, it's getting my shoulder all stretched out. So once I have those muscles loose and I've shaken all of them out, I want to start getting my hips and my legs loose. So what I do is I just start a very simple twisting process. I start slow, and as I move more, and each time I'm pushing just a little bit further till we're at the end, I can have a full stretch all the way around the axis on both sides so that my entire upper body's getting loose. The last stretch that I like to do before I start throwing is I'll grab 3 or 4 discs and I'll do my normal throwing motion. So basically this acts like a weighted disc, same way that baseball players will warm up with a heavy bat. And I'll just go through my motion with all 3 of these discs, just trying to get my body used to the motion and ready to come out here and play in the slightly cold weather. After my body's ready, I'll start with my least stable discs and I'll just do a standstill throw, very slow. And basically, I'm not even really putting all my body into it. I'm just going through the motion. I'll work through until I get to my stable and my high-speed drivers, and I will throw them full speed just to make sure that my body's getting loose. All right, so now that my bag is ready and my body's ready, I want to make sure my mind is ready for the round. So for me, that means a couple of different things. Number one, it means that I've already thought through every hole that I'm about to play that round. Hopefully I've practiced this course ahead of time. If I haven't practiced it, at the very minimum, I want to have walked through the course. I really hate playing a course blind because there's so many things that can happen and that you're unprepared for. And that'll turn your mind off to where you're not thinking about doing well, you're thinking about surviving. So I want to get my mind ready by thinking through the holes. And then there's a couple of things that I want to do for my body that help my mind get in the right mindset. Number one, if I know that there's going to be a shot that I'm going to have to do over and over on this course, I'm going to practice that very particular shot. For instance, I know that on this course, there's going to be 5 or 6 opportunities for me to have an approach shot that's pretty wide open from about 200 feet. So I'm going to go to a basket and stand about 200 feet away from it. And for that particular shot, I throw my soft harp. And I'm going to throw that harp over and over until I get comfortable with that shot on that day. So after I've prepared that shot that I know I'm going to get to do several times, I'm going to go to the basket to warm up my putting. Now the purpose of warming up putting for me is not to necessarily change anything in my putt, because I've already done 10,000 putts getting ready for this tournament. That's happened in the weeks and months and the years before I ever stood on the course on this day. So that 5 minutes right before the round, it isn't going to change anything. But what it's going to do is it's going to allow me to get my motion down, and it's going to allow me to feel comfortable about the putts that I'm about to throw. For me personally, I'm going to go to the basket of the hole that I'm starting on, and that's where I'm going to practice my putt. That's where I'm going to warm up. And I'm going to go on all sides of that, because hopefully when I throw my drive or my upshot into that hole, I'm going to land at one of the spots that I just practiced. And so then when I step up to that first putt on the first hole of that round, I know in my head and in my heart, I've already made this putt once today, and so I can just step up and throw it with confidence. So that's how I get ready for the tournament. So when the 2 minutes blows, I can go shake the hand of my competitors, and I can get ready to go have a fantastic round. So 2 minutes is about to blow here. Let me get in the last couple of putts, and then I'll get started on this round.
Here with two-time world champion Paige Pierce, and we're just going to ask a few questions, just kind of get to know a little better. But first, tell us some highs and lows for 2014 for you.
Well, this year I won my first U.S. women's title, and I've won worlds twice, but I've never won U.S. women's, so that was a high for me. And it was also good to win it in like wooded golf.
Yeah.
That's one of my struggles usually, so to win it in the woods was...
Now, one thing that we always talk about in disc golf is growing the sport for women. What are some of the challenges you see that we need to overcome as a sport to kind of promote women in the sport?
I think one good example was this year Worlds filled at 40 women, mm-hmm. and Worlds filled in every division within like a week, and 40 women was our biggest by far field at Worlds, and I think to limit it at 40 is not good.
Oh,
I don't
really?
think that's good for the sport. I think, as many women as want to play, let them play, especially if we're playing Worlds, a tournament that's known for, using 7, 8, 9, 10 courses.
Yeah.
You can always have more players and open up another course and have the women on their own course,
Yeah. Do you think disc golf has changed since you started playing?
It has, I think, because people are more... they recognize it more.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of times you won't hear, what is disc golf? You'll hear, oh, that's so cool. My friend plays, my sister plays, and they'll be like, have you played this course? And that's a huge change just in one aspect, just more people knowing.
No, I know a lot of people, and I remember when a long time ago we used to do videos together and stuff like that. One of the big things that people pointed out was that you had an arm. You were strong. You could throw just as far as men. Do you think that gives you an advantage over other players?
I think it does because I know how far I can throw and I use that to my advantage. If I can't throw that far, I know to lay up. But yeah, it does come into effect when there's a 400-foot hole and I know that I can get within 30 feet of it, and another woman may not feel that confident getting that far.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned that the sport has really become a lot more popular and a lot of people recognize you by your name. And I know that I follow you on Instagram a lot, and we'll put your Instagram on here so people can see, because I know you like people to follow what you do.
Yeah.
So tell us, your Instagram isn't just disc golf.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so kind of tell us, what do you do in your free time when you're not playing disc golf?
Well, when I'm not playing disc golf, I'm usually at home. A lot of the year, probably 9 months out of the year, I'm on the road playing disc golf or doing something to do with disc golf clinics or whatever. So in those other 3 months, I'm at home hanging out with my little brother. He's like 6, so we go like exploring, fishing, stuff like that. And then in the off season, I do a lot of rock climbing.
Oh, really?
Like indoor rock climbing gyms and just really just like outdoors things. I like being outdoors and, you know, in those 3 months, I try not to disc golf. Yeah. So
now, how long have you been playing disc golf?
Since I was 4.
Since you're 4, wow.
About 19 years, yeah.
Is there any way to imagine? Because my next question was going to be, if you weren't playing disc golf, what do you think you would be doing right now?
I think I'd be a rapper.
A rapper?
I'm just kidding. I'd like to think I could do it. It's fun.
What do you have a favorite rap song that you like?
I mean, they're all good.
Can you rap it? Can you
raps? It wouldn't be good for camera.
It wouldn't be good for the camera? Cool. Where do you see yourself in about 5 years?
I think I'll still be competing, touring. I think coming up on 10 years, though, I don't think I'll be touring. I might hit some of the big ones, the majors. But in 5 years, I'll only be 28, and I think I'll still be in enough like physical shape to keep traveling and playing. Hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. If there was one thing, maybe a rule or just something about disc golf, if there was one thing you could change, what would it be?
That's a hard question. I don't know. Maybe just how the numbers sway so much between the men and the women.
Oh, okay.
This tournament we're at right now, there's 5 women and, over 200 men. Yeah. So I'd like to see the ladies grow, especially this tournament Dee Dee's running. It's Piney Woods. And all the women got free entry fees. So, even if, you have a sister, a girlfriend, a daughter, just bring them out and, especially to a tournament like this when it's a free entry fee and just, see how they like it. If they don't like it, don't push them. And if they do like it, encourage them.
Cool. What's for a last question, what's one thing you would want people to know about you that they don't know right now? Or maybe a misconception that you think's out there?
Misconception. Man. I don't know.
You don't know? You don't have any secrets?
I don't think so. Not really.
Nothing? All right. That's
I don't
cool.
think so.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Paige, for joining us.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks for being on here. Well, Eric, one of the new discs we got in is the new Lucid Freedom, so we thought it'd be a good disc to test out to see how I throw it compared to how you throw it. Now, I'm a slow arm. I can't throw very far, so what it did for me, my first couple of throws weren't very good because it's cold outside.
Very cold.
But after I threw it a few times, I could get it to go pretty straight. How far would you say I got it?
I think it was almost reaching that 300-foot mark.
Yeah.
Keeping in mind when we were throwing these, we were behind a building.
Yeah.
And the wind was kind of coming left to right and kind of wrapping around the building into our face.
Yeah.
So it was a little awkward wind to when we were throwing out these.
And like I said, it was going pretty straight for me, and it had a nice little fade at the end. I got some pretty good distance. I was impressed. It really reminded me of when I throw a trespass. Mm-hmm. So to me, this is almost like a slightly faster, slightly less stable trespass.
Yeah, I would say I would agree with you there.
Cool. So how did it do for you?
Well, for me, I've been throwing this disc for a while now. I've been throwing it actually in Fusion more because the Lucids just came in. And this one has been pretty good. It's a very, very fast disc, and it's pretty understable for someone with a bigger arm who has a lot more snap and is throwing more, trespasses and enforcers and giants as their main discs. So the Freedom for me is going to be more of a situational disc. I think it's going to be a fabulous roller for, big arm speeds, anybody who can really put a lot of pop and snap on the disc. It's going to be a fabulous roller for him. And, when I was out there throwing them, I was only throwing it at probably 80%, meaning I wasn't putting my whole 100% snap into it. Couple reasons. One, it's cold. You don't want to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
And 2, if I give it my 100% into that wind that we had, it would have just turned over and cut rolled, or just flipped right over anyway. So 80%, it was nice, came out with hyzer, and it flipped up to flat, and typically rode to the right on most of the shots.
Yeah.
And I would say more than half the time it came back at the end.
Nice.
So yeah, I would say it definitely flies like a faster, less stable trespass for me as well.
Nice. All right, well, the verdict is, for me, I think I will grab a couple of these and put them in the bag and have them as one of my distance drivers for sure.
Nice.
What about you?
For me, it'll probably be in and out during the off season.
Okay.
And probably be in there for a roller more than anything, but I'm really loving the Renegade right now for my rollers. So the Freedom probably won't make the cut for my bag right now.
All right. Well, guys, there it is, the Lucid Freedom. Definitely check it out at dynamicdiscs.net.
All right, guys, that was episode number 3 of Dynamic Discs TV. Be sure to go out and like, subscribe, and share on YouTube or Facebook, whichever you are watching it on. Play a provisional. Another good example is a horn. Your meter in, no, start over. Through a provisional throw. That sucks too.
Paige, tell us some of your highs and lows for 2014.
Is that for disc?
And that sounded awful.
All right, so I'm here, Bobby, and I'm going to start over because that was stupid.
I'm here, Bob.
Okay. I smell skunk. It'd be funny if it sprayed me. YouTube or Facebook, whichever you are watching it on.
Peace.
I wonder if you had anything to add.
I couldn't think of anything. I know, I couldn't think of anything.
Peace.
Peace.